Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today for this episode of Talent Views. I'm your host, Anu Rao, and this is a series where we talk to experts from the talent ecosystem: procurement, human resources, talent acquisition, business leaders, marketers, and more. AI agents reflects a definite shift in how we do work. And in today's episode, our special guest is going to unwrap how we can build a talent engine by leveraging AI agents. He is a senior procurement professional with an extensive background in supply management and technology sourcing in large global organizations like News Corp, Zoetis, Barclays, to name a few. He is also a featured instructor on artificial intelligence for the Rutgers Business School Executive Education Program. David Johnson, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I am doing very well, Anu. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Um, I appreciate the chance to be here and talk about really nerdy tech stuff that I love talking about. Um, and hopefully, all of your listeners and all of our guests today get a little something out of learning about AI agents and how we can best use them in our daily lives.
Thank you so much, David, and I am sure they will. So let's dive right in. Now, when we say AI agent, how do we tell the difference between a chatbot, a workflow bot, and a true autonomous agent with decision making ability?
Oh, that is a great question, Anu. Um, I'd like to say it's a spectrum, right? Think about it as like a rainbow, right? The chatbot is at the very bottom of the rainbow. It's a Q&A machine. You ask, it answers, and then it stops. It doesn't remember that there's a longer objective or take any real world actions, right? That's the very base, the basics of it. Then you've got a workflow bot. A workflow bot runs a fixed script. When this happens, you take these three steps. It might send emails or update a Google Sheet or a record or something like that, but it doesn't really think or reason or adapt in any way, shape, or form. Whereas a true autonomous agent, it has a goal. It can decide how to reach that goal. What steps should it take? It can reach out and call other tools and different apps. And then it can react to what happens in those apps and loop until it gets to the result. It's almost like a junior digital intern, not just if this happens, then that macro. So like in the staffing and recruiting world, in the talent world, a chatbot might answer candidate frequently asked questions, right? And a workflow bot might move a candidate from to interview scheduled and then send an email. Whereas an agent can look at the pipeline, decide who's at risk of dropping off, and then proactively send reminders or follow-ups for the recruiter to approve.
That distinction was really helpful. I had read up a little bit before this chat, and honestly, you did so much more justice to it. Espe- Especially the idea that agents are not just responding, but planning and taking action independently, right? What I'm hearing is it's something more than even a custom GPT, right?
Oh,
Uh,
definitely.
uh, so, with that in mind, it raises the obvious next question. How can we decide which tasks should be automated with an AI agent? If you can share some examples, that would be great.
Okay. Um, I usually use like this 4 item checklist, right? And this goes back to the same thing that companies like McKinsey and the automation giants, right? UiPath, Automation Anywhere. They all have this idea of what a good candidate task for an agent is. They usually have these 4 traits. One, it's low risk or low to moderate risk, right? If something goes wrong, if the agent messes up, I want it to be just slightly annoying and not catastrophic. So when you're building your agent, you want it to start with drafts, reminders, summaries, or internal notes, right? That's the smart way to do it rather than having it make, compensation decisions or candidate rejection decisions. You want it to be something that's repeatable and frequent. If you do it every day, if you do it every week, it's a good candidate for an agent task, right? Interview reminders, summarization of uh, job descriptions and statements of work, right? Intake cleanup, basic candidate outreach. These are things that are repeatable and you do it all the time. Number three, you need it to have clear input and clear outputs. The interview date and time plus the candidate contact, that's the input. The output is the right reminder message at the right time. Or the input is a messy client email, and the output is a structured requisition field. And the last thing you want for an agent to do, especially a simple agent, is for it to be mostly made up of things that are rules, hard and fast rules, with judgment around the outside, right? The steps are consistent, even if like the words change. So instead of saying 24 hours before every interview, send this reminder, you say 1 day before every interview, send this reminder. If it's a panel interview, include the panel details. So those four things are the things that I generally use to identify a candidate, right? So some examples that I can think of is, like I said, interview reminders and prep materials, sending them to candidates. That's an agent task that can easily be done. Turning job descriptions into recruiter pitches and outreach drafts. That's an easy thing that can be into a short debrief. I looked 5 bots recording this. I'm going to turn them into short debriefs for the person who sent the bot here, right? And then like status updates, generate the first draft status update to a hiring manager. This is what happened in this particular interview, blah, 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 blah. All of that can be done and automated with an agent really quickly.
So, what I'm hearing you say is that a good agent, a use case for a good agent use case would be it's boring in the best possible way, right?
It's boring in the best possible way.
Yes.
I think I'm a big proponent of we as human beings are too smart to copy and paste. We are too smart to read through 1,000 contracts over and over again when they say the same thing. If we already know what it is, we should have an agent, we should have an AI that can just take that and show me what's wrong, show me what's different, and then let me take an action on that. Let me take the decision. I don't need to review word for word every single line in an SOW that's a template. I know that already. Tell me what's different.
So low risk, repetitive, clear input output, and it should have consistent steps, a proper workflow. Now,
Yep.
when you put it that way, it makes me feel it's much more approachable, which is perfect because many people here are probably wondering if we want to build a simple AI agent today or tomorrow, say doing any of the use cases that you mentioned in your previous answer. What are the exact steps from idea to working version?
The simplest, so I there are a number of tools that you can use, right? But we've got one tool on the screen right now, Zapier. Here's like a 7-step recipe, right? There's levels to it, obviously. You can go really easy and you can go really increasingly difficult. And to be perfectly honest with you, most of the tools that you're already using, your application tracking systems, your CRMs, they already have agents that you can buy or add on or build in, right? But here's my 7-step, right? So let's say, and I've used this example already, we want an agent that sends interview reminders. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to define the job to myself, right? I'm thinking about how I'm going to build this agent. The agent's job is to say, when there's an upcoming interview, I want to send the candidate and the recruiter a reminder with the date, time, the location, or a meeting link, and any prep notes, right? Then I have to figure out where I'm going to get that data from, right? So I need to decide the data source. Where does the interview info live today? Is it in my application tracking system? Is it in a Google Sheet? Is it in an email and needs to be in a Google Sheet? But I'm going to say that there's a Google Sheet that I put all my candidate info in, the email, time, the rolling notes, because that's how I like to work, right? And I know that there are ways for me to pull that from email directly if I'm using Gmail, right? Then I'm going to choose a trigger. When a new interview role is added or when the start time is approaching, you know, check for interviews happening soon, right? You can do that every morning, right? That's your trigger. But then you add the AI where it actually matters, right? I don't need the AI to calculate 24 hours before. That's standard automation. What I do need the AI to do is to automatically draft a human sounding reminder message. And that's where the prompt comes in. The prompt is, you're a recruiter at Indotronics. Draft a friendly, concise email reminding the candidate of their interview. Include date, time zone, role title, and any prep notes. Keep it under 150 words and make it professional tone. Then you have to configure the action within whatever tool you're using to build it. Take the AI generated text, send it via text message and email using the candidate email phone from the data source. So for the first version, I also want you to send it to the recruiter, not directly to the candidate. That's the human in the loop step, right? And that's my sixth thing. Because you're just starting out, always add a human in the loop, at least for the first few weeks until you know that the agent is doing what you want it to do. Route the draft reminder to the recruiter for one-click approval edit. Only after the trust is built would I allow it to send it directly, right? After a couple of weeks and I see that it's drafting it right, and I'll say, yeah, let's do it. And then you test it and you turn it on. Test with fake information, fake interviews, and my email. Once it's behaving, turn it on and let it run. So from when you asked me the question to just now, that was what, 4 minutes? Right?
Pardon?
That was about 4 minutes from when you first asked me the question
Yes.
to now. So
Yes.
that's, if we were doing that in Zapier, that
Mhm.
would have been how long it took you to create the agent,
Oh,
right?
wow. Okay.
So from idea to working interview reminder agent in less than 10 minutes without writing any code,
Any
just
code.
describing the job and wiring together tools that already exist.
And when you, as you were stepping through it, it was such a structured approach to it, right? And it kind of almost demystifies the process and makes it feel like less like science fiction and I need to know so much technology. And so now I feel maybe I can do this. So you mentioned all the 7 steps, and that sounds very,
Okay,
it
wait a
just
minute, wait a
flows
minute,
one
wait a
to
minute, wait
another.
a minute, wait a minute.
Hmm.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
You want to do
Okay,
it? You want to
awesome.
do it? Okay, so
Yes.
before I'm gonna say go to Zapier.com, but I need you to find a job description, any job description, and then copy it to some
Okay.
place you can reach it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to request anyone from IIC over here to give me a quick job description. Thank you, Mehdi. So should I copy paste the entire job description?
No, just hold it for now. Let's go to Zapier,
Let's go to Zapier. Okay.
and
I hope
we're gonna
everyone
use
can
that job.
see I log
Yes.
in. 1 second. I'm already logged in. Okay.
So this is going to be the simplest and easiest way to do it, right?
Okay.
In the Zapier is one of the it's a workflow automation online tool,
Mm-hmm.
but they've recently started in the agent world. They have tons of templates for agents that are already built that you can
Mm-hmm.
just copy the agent flow and start
Mm-hmm.
using them right away, connecting your external tools. But for
Okay.
our purposes, what we're going to do is I want to illustrate just how simple it is to build an agent. So we're going to go here to the Copilot AI beta box up at the top, right?
Okay.
And we're going to build an agent that we're going to name the JD Outreach Assistant, right? The job of the agent is going to be, actually, why don't you just type this in right now in that Copilot box? When I provide a job description and the target candidate profile.
I'm not a fast typer, so bear with me. When I provide a job description
and the target candidate profile, then a comma, you, colon. Number 1, extract the must-have skills.
Okay, so one and
period.
a period, yeah. Extract
must-have skills. Location and seniority. 2, the number 2, sorry. Number 2 is generate a 2 to 3 sentence pitch. A recruiter can say on the phone. And number 3, draft a short outreach message. Let's open parentheses. Under 200 words.
No.
Yeah, open parentheses, under 200 words, and then close. That sounds professional and concise. Always ask me a clarifying question if the JD is missing critical information. Right, now hit the little arrow right there.
Okay.
So this is obviously going to be built using AI in a workflow. All right, hold on one second. Why did that not work? So the Copilot is supposed to, it worked when I did it just this morning. Okay, click agents on the side.
Okay.
Should have told you to copy and paste that whole thing first.
Yeah, I can do that even now. Oh. Okay.
Go to agents, and then there should be a new agent.
Are you able to see my screen, or are you seeing my?
I see your screen. Click agents on the left where it says beta.
Yeah, and that opened up a screen. Zapier agents, you're not able to take that, right?
Yeah, what is?
Okay, yes,
Yep.
Let me stop sharing this screen and start sharing the other screen. Yeah.
Okay, you'll have to, it's taking you through the tour because this is your first time. Click continue.
Okay.
Create your first agent.
I paste it here.
Yes. I apologize. When I did this, I had done it on an account that already existed. I didn't realize that because this was a new account,
Uh-huh.
yours is a new account, it would take these other steps.
Uh-huh.
So what it's done is it's
Mm-hmm.
built the entire agent
Mm-hmm.
already. Now you have to
Ah,
add a trigger, right? So click the
okay.
box that says add a trigger to the agent,
Mm-hmm.
and under default on demand. Just click that. It should get you
On
there.
demand?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Okay. So it essentially means that when I demand, then it gets triggered.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So scroll down in this little box with the instructions to follow.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to ask you, you're going to add, you have the ability to add tools.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have, say, a very specific Claude, or your organization uses Google Workspace, you want it to use Google Gemini as the tool, that's where
Mm-hmm.
you would add it.
Mm-hmm.
And then your knowledge sources. If you want it to be if you want it very specifically to come from a Google sheet, or if you want it to come from your application tracking system, that is where you connect those sources, right?
Oh, okay. Got it.
Let's go to agent preview.
Okay.
Let's go to test agent.
Okay.
So it's going to ask you for the full job posting and the job description and a
Okay.
target candidate profile. Copy and paste the JD and write some information about the type of candidate that would be best for this job, and then run the agent.
Okay. So uh, do you want me to submit a resume itself, or?
No. Just what you think what the qualities of the best candidate would
Okay. Mehdi, you submitted
be. Uh,
a JD. Can you put in a couple of things that the ideal candidate should have? I'm asking one of the audience who posted the JD. So I put the job description in. And do I need to write one?
I would put in one, or just identify it. Type it like you're typing it to a person. Hey, here's the job description.
Okay.
And then it should ask you for the candidate profile.
Oh, target candidate profile. I'll complete all the, okay. I, okay. I should have, okay, while I wait for one of them to give me, do you want me to just write a couple of sentences here based on this JD, or just for test purposes?
There you go. It's in the chat.
Okay.
Just copy and
Okay.
paste what's in the chat. That'll work. It analyzed the job description, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which you can see here. I didn't get a chance to read through the job description, so you're going to have to tell me if it's true or not. It
Mm-hmm.
pulls in the must-have skills, right, which
Mm-hmm.
is what we asked it to do, and then the location, which
Mm-hmm.
is clearly a major part of it, seniority, keep going, and then it generated a 2 to 3 sentence phone pitch and an email that you can send to potential candidates. So you've already built the agent, created a phone pitch and an email within 12 minutes.
And this is
And you've
despite
never
having
done this
pitches.
before.
Okay, this is awesome. Okay. Let me. He has added some more criteria, not criteria. He's added some more elements of the resume. Should I be adding it? But we get the idea. Within
Yeah, I mean
five.
adding those elements are not going to change the agent
Okay.
at the moment, right? But this is
Okay.
the idea was to build an agent
Mm-hmm.
really quickly, and you're doing it from scratch with
Hmm.
no experience, and that's one
Yes.
way. That's one of many to build an
Hmm.
agent, and it's effective, right?
Awesome.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. I that was I'm going to keep this screen. I'll stop sharing it, but I'm going to keep the screen and I'm going to run it by Mehdi, who shared the job description, and ask him if how good the job. He's one of our senior delivery managers, and I'm sure he can give a very good idea on whether it did a good job or not. Thank you. That was kind of exciting. I was like, I'm not prepared with a JD, but despite all those things, we managed to do it. So it, now you already talked about Zapier. You said there are a few more tools out there. Anything that you suggest that could be a good starting point?
Yeah, I mean, there are multiple ways to do it. Zapier is a very basic, very beginner friendly
Mm.
way to do it, right? It's built off of it's using AI to create AI. There are other tools that do that. Your ATS and HRIS platforms now have built-in assistants or co-pilots or whatever they want to call it for candidate communication, scheduling, or screening. Um, and then there are other more powerful tools, right? So we go from beginner to somewhat beginner, but still, but close to intermediate because you can throw so much more in it. There's a website called, there's a product called N8N, which is a web-based N, the number eight, then N. Um, it's vibe coding. It's taking little boxes and connecting the dots like you're building a Visio workflow,
Mm-hmm.
but it's it's a very visual workflow. It's got lots of control, branching logic, and you can self-host it if you are focused on data privacy, but you want more customization, and you have some technical support. That's why N8N is good, right? If you want to design more complex flows that's touching multiple systems with approvals and logging and then run it within your own environment, you need N8N, right? Zapier is good for, you know, I need to do something right now and I already use Gmail, Google Sheets, Slack, Greenhouse, etc. Then you can use Zapier because it's already got the connections, but you can't self-host it. Zapier may have access to some of your data, um, um, and you don't need that huge level of customization and tons of power. And then your ATSs and these other systems create. Um, they have their own features that they've built in. So, like, just a really quick summary: Zapier is the fastest for proof of concept. We just proved that. N8N is better for power and ownership, and your native AR agents when you want something that's already baked into your system of record.
Um, so, David, I'm going to pause here for a second because um, the creating the agent part was, I'm sure people have questions. So, I'm going to
So,
put it out to the audience. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat. This is as I had mentioned before, this is an interactive chat, and that makes it more fun. So do put it in the chat. Whatever questions, clarifying, or even something related may not be exactly what he already talked about. Just put in the questions in the chat box. And you were talking about, while I wait for the questions, I will ask my next question. Now, you did mention a couple of things about how the human step should be there when we um, are just building an AI agent. Now, you as a procurement executive, risk mitigation is obviously top on mind for you. So before I give the agent real autonomy, what guardrails should be put in place so it doesn't make bad decisions? Human is one. Anything else that you can think of?
so for me, it's I start with draft, don't send. Give me the chance to look at it. Human in the loop. I want a little bit of oversight on
Mm-hmm.
before you go out, at least for a little while. And then I want to constrain it, right? I want to limit the blast radius, how much damage. I want to limit how much damage it can possibly do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can only use this inbox. You can only see this calendar or these records, and which groups of people you can message. So like it can only email candidates on active requisitions in the ATS, not
Mm-hmm.
my entire contact database, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when you're building an agent, for the most part, not in Zapier per se, but in other things, you define the actions that it's allowed to take, right? And the thresholds. Things it can do automatically. It can automatically draft, summarize, tag, schedule internal reminders. Things it can only propose, candidate rejection, changes to offers, and things it can never ever do. Share PII, change compensation. Um, that's one of the most
Mm.
important things, right? You have to define the box it's allowed to work in, and make sure that it can't go outside of that box in any way, shape, or form.
So defining the sandbox, the edges of the box is essential for it to
It is
perform.
absolutely essential because anybody who's played with ChatGPT for a long time, it likes to make stuff up. And you don't want
Yes.
that information going to a customer or a stakeholder or a candidate in any way, shape, or form. So you define where the data comes from and what it can do early on in the process. Definitely while you're testing it, you continuously refine it, and make sure it's got clear, hard and fast rules of what it's allowed to do and do it. Um,
Thank you, David. I do have a
and then,
question. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, I see the
Yes.
question. There's two more things really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Logging and oversight.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make sure when you're building the agent that you require it to have every action logged somewhere that you can inspect.
Mm.
And then when you're writing your prompt, the way that we wrote that prompt out in the agent builder, um, prompt it specifically not to invent facts, not to
Uh-huh.
change dates or times, and to
Uh-huh.
confirm critical details from the source before it generates any messages.
Uh-huh. No, so the last 2 points that you mentioned were oversight and make sure that it is stored in a place so that you can go back to it. And of
Exactly.
course, right. And
Yep.
then
You want to know who the agent contacted, what information it sent, what data it touched. So later on, you can review it and audit it. Or even during the early runs, you can see exactly what happened, where it came from, and explain it to your boss why this agent accidentally sent out an email to
Mhm.
someone it wasn't supposed to.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you so much, David. Um, I have a question here. I have a couple of questions, so I'll go with the first one. How does API, how do API keys work in Zapier? Do we need to enter manually or it takes it automatically? So we use an applicant tracking system, um,
Mhm.
and do we need to input the API keys? How does it work?
Yeah, when you're defining your knowledge base and when you're connecting tools, so like let's say you build an agent and you want to connect it to a large language model like ChatGPT, you have to essentially log into ChatGPT and build your own API key and give that API key to Zapier in order for it to use it, right? You have
Mhm.
to do the same thing with Gmail. You have to do the same thing with Google Calendar. You have to give it a, you have to explicitly make it so that it knows that this is your connection, right? And that's what the API key work does.
Mhm.
Any tool that you use that you're going to be connecting your your ATS to or your CRM to, they'll all need defined API keys, and that's very manual for the most part. Uh, Zapier has clear connections that where it'll ask for the API key itself, and those are built into Zapier. But for the most part, it's better that you it in define it manually, because you might lose track of it, right? If you build 10 agents and it asks Gmail every time for an API key for these 10 agents, when you're looking at your Google bill, because it's going to take tokens or whatever it is for the Gemini, for it to hit the LLM, you might not necessarily remember which agent is which API key, right? An API key is 100 and something characters. So if you build it, you can name it, and then you define the API keys yourself. That's just better practice, in my mind, when you're building out multi-agentic workflows or multi-agent systems.
So to build out the API, generate the API key, is that something when I'm creating an AI agent, how much of technical knowledge do I need at that point? Going back to
You just a very basic idea of what the agent is going to do and what information it's going to get to. You need an understanding of what an API is, right? And it's even the most basic understanding of an API. An API is just a connection from one system to another, and the API key is the authentication. It's just like your username and password when you're logging into your bank, right? An API key is my system, system A, logging into system B, and allowing me to get information from the other system and send information to the other system. That's really all you need to know,
all it does.
right?
Yeah.
And the more, especially for simple ones, the more complex it becomes, the more technical knowledge you need or you should have.
Yeah. Thank you, David. I hope that answered Mehdi's question. And we'll move on to the next one. Once an AI-triggered email is sent, can the AI agent also read and respond to candidate replies, or is it limited to just the workflow execution?
So the simple agent that we created could, if you built the parameters correctly. The more complex these agents become when you create a connection to, say, a ChatGPT, and you connect it to a custom GPT, you can have full-on conversations with an agent and a candidate with no human intervention, because it's got a wide range of knowledge. It's already got a persona or personality that's been created, and it understands the parameters that it's operating. So you send the automated trigger, that email interview reminder, right? The person, the emails back, hey, I can't make this time. I need to reschedule. I have a family emergency. The AI bot, who has been trained and programmed to act like a person, then says, oh no, I'm very sorry to hear that you have an issue or a family emergency. These are the potential available times, right? But on the back end, what that AI agent has done, because you've given it access to the calendars of the two people who are going to interview them, is it's gone through and it's found sometimes that the interviewer is available, and it's put a hold on it in that particular spot, to when those spots, to wait for the candidate to verify that this new time is available. The complexity of the agents they can be off the charts. But as long as you know how to build the agent, or if you experiment enough and build the agent, you can do exactly what you're saying, right? It can read and respond to emails. It can take certain actions, all of that.
David, I know you have been dabbling in the world of AI and AI agents for a while. Just out of curiosity, what are some couple of interesting AI agents that you've built?
So there are. I'm in the process of building a multi-agent ecosystem. So it's like an octopus, right? There's a brain agent, and then there are 8 other agents that work with my main agent, right? So there's one agent that has a really large memory. It remembers all the things that I'm doing. There's another agent that I use that sets reminders and pulls out tasks from emails, and can automatically, add events to my calendar for my personal use, right? There's another agent that I'm using to keep track of my projects. These kind of things that I really want to do, but they're not overly important, like creative writing or, ideas for other apps that I've got that I want to build. And that is, again, going back to my orchestration brain agent and saying, well, David wants to write this book. He needs to put time in his calendar to write this book. Then I have another agent whose sole purpose is to take my brain dump that I do in the morning or on a Saturday or a Sunday before I get up and go to work and parse that, send it back to my agent, take those tasks and ideas and shuttle them down to the other agents so that I can schedule time for me to write my book, open my app, go play golf, get a manicure and a pedicure, get a massage, all of that. Like anything that I'm thinking, it goes there. Um, and all of these agents, and then there's a couple of others that I do
Mm-hmm.
for like managing bills to make sure that my bills are paid or to go check my credit report and stuff like that. Like building a personal productivity system is, is what I'm essentially trying to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I this is the guinea pig for when I build out my own procurement sourcing function. My idea of what the procurement function or supply chain of the future is going to be is going to be, you know, a couple of employees and a whole bunch of agents, right? With that, the employees being the human in the loop and the agent doing most of the grunt work for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's just absolutely fascinating. But again, going back to guardrails, the next questions come around that. What are the most common mistakes people could potentially make when creating their first AI agent? And any tips on how they can avoid it?
Most people trust AI more than they should.
Mm,
Um, and the mistake that I've seen and the mistakes that I've made are not testing it long enough.
mm,
So my first agent that I built, over time, it degraded. Right before I built the orchestration agent, I built a regular agent, and I
mhm,
got a lot of hallucinations. But it didn't happen right away. It was
mhm,
over weeks,
mm,
um, and that was the biggest mistake that I made. So that takes you to the testing phase and then going back and redefining the prompts, adding in those safety measures, saying, don't make stuff up, don't change any dates and times, all of that stuff. Like there's that safety prompt and that validation is a clear learning from a mistake that I made. Fortunately, it was just something personal. It wasn't for an enterprise that could have cost somebody millions of dollars, but that's like the biggest mistake, right? Not creating the safety prompts, um not defining that sandbox that it can play in well enough. AI wants more. It loves data, and if
mhm,
you don't tell it where it can get that data from, it's going to take all of the data it can find.
mhm.
And you don't want it accidentally sending out proprietary compensation information because you didn't define the guardrails correctly.
Mhm. I like how you put it. It's going to grab all the data it can find if you don't give it the data it needs. Um, the next question is very, very relevant to our industry. And that is based on your experience, how comfortable do you think candidates would be with voice AI screening? And do they feel it lacks a human touch?
I definitely think that as human beings, we learn to adapt. I don't think we will ever love AI, even as realistic as AI can be now, right? Um, we work in marketing, right? Anu, um, there are tons of marketing materials where now all the images are AI generated, and studies have shown that it doesn't get the same response as actual images from of human beings, like real images. Um, the nobody is happy talking to a recording on the phone or a chat bot on when you're trying to reach a company, right? It's I think that we will adjust to it. I don't think that people will ever be happy with it. um we're already seeing in this terrible job market AI ATS trackers that are rejecting candidates because they're missing keywords. Your initial screening calls are, with voice AI agents, right? There tools that monitor interviews, video interviews that use AI based body language interpreters to give notes to the interview. And these are the things that are being used to define hiring decisions, or at least partially. And does it indicate ability and the ability to perform the role? Does it indicate the potential for excellence in a role? I don't think AI is that capable yet, but I think it's something that people are starting to get used to. And not necessarily, are they going to love it? Probably not. We're going to complain about it just like we do.
Yes.
Oh, I can never get anybody on the phone. But it's what we're used to now, and I think that's where we're going. Hopefully that answers the question.
Absolutely. It is going to be a necessary evil. And right now, probably AI agents are at entry level position. They are going to evolve. They are going to become senior teammates as they learn. So that was such an incredible discussion, David. This was my first experience doing a live demo. Absolutely loved it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate
Thank you
your
for having
time,
me.
and thank you to the audience. Appreciate all of you joining in. We had, as always, the highest number of people ever. Even before, the person who had the highest number of people joining in before was you in your previous chat. And now you exceeded yourself. So that's how much fun it is talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. And guys, as always, I'm available on LinkedIn. Like, if you have any questions, concerns, if you build something cool, show me. I like to play with toys. I will try to break it. I'm not. But that's part of the testing process. But that's what's fun to me. Like seeing what people do. Like knowing that I helped start them on the journey, or I got them. Like I gave them that curiosity, makes me so happy. So like reach out to me on LinkedIn if you built something cool with Zapier, or you evolved, or this becomes your obsession. Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And if I can help you, I will.
Thank you, David. And when you do send in that LinkedIn request, mention that you know Anu. And that's definitely going to get you.
That'll get your foot right in the door.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining in.
Thank you, guys.